Hi and welcome. My name is Juliana Mitchell and this is Living Now Yoga in my living room. Thank you for joining me. Tonight we're going to practice some restorative yoga, and for anybody who might be new to the practice of restorative yoga, we use what we call props, especially folded blankets, towels, things that can be three-dimensional support for the body to create poses that remind our body mind how to return to ease, which is the state from which healing arises. Before we dive into creating restorative poses for our body, though, I'd like us to begin with 30 seconds of silence. Throughout this time of COVID social distancing, as I've been teaching, I've been dedicating each of a day of my teaching. First, it was to a different class of essential workers, and of late, it's more so been a group of peoples for whom the social distancing may be especially challenging. So allow yourself either to sit up tall, and that could be seated in a chair on your couch. It doesn't have to be seated on the ground. You also could lie on the ground if that would create increased ease for your body. But however you choose to organize yourself, please organize yourself in equal parts consciousness and comfort. And you might allow your eyes to fall halfway closed or all the way closed if that can feel safe and available to you. And I'd like to dedicate this evening's restorative yoga class to the people out there who are social distancing and maybe struggling with any of bipolar diagnosis, schizophrenia diagnosis, borderline personality diagnosis, others that I may not be naming, persons for whom even times less fraught and less complex than these can be a daily challenge. So let us, if you're willing, send our hearts to our brothers, our sisters, our siblings in the human family who may be struggling in these ways and for whom this social distancing may be especially challenging. 30 seconds of silence in their honor. And that was our time of silence. Thank you for joining me in that. So now I'm going to introduce to you the props that we'll use this evening for our restorative yoga practice. To my right here, you'll see that I have two blankets, and I will not necessarily use both blankets for all poses. And in fact, at any time that you want, you could use one of these blankets. If there's a part of your body that feels bony and sensitive against the ground, such as your spine, you could always take one of the blankets and lay it underneath you. If at any point you get chilled, you could lay the blanket on top of you. And for some people for whom anxiety is a strong energy, taking the weight of a folded blanket and just putting it over your belly when you're lying on your back, or putting it over the front of the pelvis when you're lying on your back, sometimes that extra weight can Ooh, drop a little extra anxiety, tension right out of the body. So some of the time I will invite us to incorporate a blanket in a particular way, but at any point in time, please feel free to use a blanket to create warmth, to create weight on top of your body, or to create padding support under your body. 2 blankets. I'm also going to invite you to have 2 towels. And some of the time, a towel can serve as a blanket or a blanket can serve as a towel. Sometimes it will just be interchangeable. All the things I just said you could use a blanket for, you could use your towel for as well. But specifically, I'm also going to fold our towels in particular ways to create support in the body. So you might choose to have 2 towels and 2 blankets. And of course, not knowing what you have at home, you could choose more of one, fewer of the other. But where possible, 2 blankets, 2 towels. Over here, I have a pile of 3 cushions. And I grabbed cushions from my couch, but they could just as easily be 3 pillows from your bed or a combination of both. And again, these will be used as pillows that go under knees, under our head. Uh, but again, a blanket could be put under the head, or a rolled up towel could go underneath your knees. So if you've got more pillows and fewer towels, grab more pillows. If you have da 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 da. Having said that, what I'll invite you to have 3 cushions, pillows if possible, 2 towels if possible, 2 blankets if possible. And then finally, if you could grab a strap or something that could serve as a strap, and you might have a long scarf that could serve as a strap, but also for things such as stretching our leg or stretching the arms overhead, actually a pair of blue jeans or sweatpants could work. You can hold one leg with one hand, one leg with the other hand. A jump rope could do the trick. So something strap-like. A pile of pillows, a couple of towels, a couple of blankets, and the final prop I'll invite you to have, which is optional, will be an eye pillow or some other form of eye covering. So if you don't actually have a yoga eye pillow, you could lay a clean sock over your eyes. You could lay the scarf that you might use as your strap over your eyes. Something that could go over the eyes to create darkness. The eye pillow, however, does a little bit more than just create darkness because it's a little pillow. It creates a little weight over the brow and eyes, and the brow has some acupressure spots on it. So if you think that would be sweet for you, you don't have an eye pillow, even if not for tonight's class, for another class, you could always take a little Ziploc baggie and fill it with lentils. You could fill it with oats and wrap it in a cloth, and then that can serve as a nice stand-in eye pillow. But there's also lots of artists out there, both on Etsy and other places, that earn their living making beautiful eye pillows, and it might be sweet to check some of them out. The first pose that we're going to do this evening will not involve any of our pillows, will not involve our strap, will not involve our folded blankets. Our first pose this evening, and those of you who've been joining me regularly have seen how I've been teaching supported bridge pose with 2 stacked folded towels. So that's what we're going to open with this evening, supported bridge pose with 2 stacked folded towels. If you have a yoga block at home and you'd rather use a yoga block, if you know this pose, come into your favorite way of doing supported bridge pose. If you have a paperback novel and you want to put that under your sacrum, you're welcome to do that. But you see that I have folded up my towels as nicely as I can, as symmetrically as I can, so that they are bigger than the back of the pelvis. Regardless of what size your pelvis is, as far as the meat you've got in your bones, the bones of the pelvis, the back of the butt cheeks could rest here. So let me show you how I'll get into this shape. But though I'm going to come and lie on my back with my head this way. And though we're not going to use the strap for our opening pose, we're going to use it for our second exploration. So in addition to maybe having two nicely folded stacked towels nearby, you might want to have your strap past your head. I'm going to grab my strap, just have it nearby. And because it's sweet to put an eye pillow over my eyes, that's something I enjoy in my practice. I have my eye pillow nearby. I'm going to come and lie on my back. I'm going to move my ponytail so I can rest on the back of the skull and on the low back of the skull. And I'm going to turn my two towels so they're wide left and right, the way a pelvis is wide left and right. My feet are on the ground, my knees bend towards the ceiling. Shoulder blades walked down back body a little, and I'm going to rise my hips up and slide my two folded stacked towels underneath the back of my pelvis. So that if I was wearing fitted blue jeans, my blue jeans back pockets would now be rested on top of the towels. If you don't have towels for this purpose, well-folded blankets stacked could do the same. And if you have some firmer pillows, two stacked firmer pillows might do the trick as well. Once you come to be lying on your back, knees bent, feet on the ground, with some height under the back of your pelvis, you might reach for your eye pillow or other eye covering as the case may be. But though we call them eye pillows, for me, the ones with weight are really forehead and eye pillows. I'm really looking to drape the weight and the presence of the eye pillow over the flesh on and just above the brow bone. The hands could be as close to your side body as you wish, or spilled out as wide as you might prefer, probably palms up. You could even drop the arms back along your ears. Allow the elbows to bend as the arms might prefer. And for those of you who know cactus arms, or what is sometimes called goal post arms, you could even let the arms drop wide into goal posts, into cactus. As I mentioned before, if you chill, you could put a blanket over front body. If you'd like the weight of a folded blanket over your belly, you could do that. Tune your mind's awareness to the ground beneath you and to the weight of your body as it rests upon the ground. The mind might be busy with your day, with the details of life. That's just very human. To the degree that you can, invite the mind to gently slow down. Invite the breath to slow down. And as you settle into this supported bridge pose, Salamba Setu Bandhasana, I'd like to share a quote with you that's been inspiring me these last 24 hours. It's from an Irish poet philosopher named John O'Donoghue. He writes, "What you encounter, recognize, or discover depends to a large degree on the quality of your approach. When we approach with reverence, great things decide to approach us." I'd like to repeat that. I'll say it a second time. What you encounter, recognize, or discover depends to a large degree on the quality of your approach. When we approach with reverence, great things decide to approach us. Perhaps you can approach this body mind in which you live with reverence, giving it permission to rest. And as you practice resting, I'll be here breathing with you. Please remember you can come out of any pose at any time for any reason. You're also welcome to adjust the pose in any way that your wise inner guidance directs you to do. Our inner guidance often speaks to us through the sensations of the body. So you might very gently give yourself permission to feel this body, or to intend to feel this body. As you rest here. continuing to rest and to breathe as you are. If your arms are back along the ears or stretched out to the side, begin to sweep them closer, bringing them in alongside the torso. And if your palms are up, turn the palms down. Keeping the face bowed in towards the heart, press down into your shoulders, press down into your feet, and let the pressing into shoulders and feet rise your hips up. Slide the prop or props behind your pelvis out of the way, and one vertebra at a time, lower down until your pelvis rests on the earth. Pausing a moment there. And then if you have an eye pillow on, you might slide it off. And if in fact you were using your long scarf as an eye pillow, now hold your scarf between your hands. If you have something strap-like overhead, reach for it. And allow your two hands to hold the strap, if that can work for you. And if the range of motion in your shoulders lets that not be okay, you can skip it or do whatever portion of this feels okay for you. Holding your strap between your two hands, hands curled into two little fists, arms maybe shoulder distance apart, maybe a little wider if that feels more easeful for you. Keeping your elbows fairly straight, reach your arms up towards the ceiling, and then reach your arms as though toward your lap, towards your legs, and elbows will bend towards the earth. And then once again, reach the strap towards the ceiling and start to bring it overhead. And stop where your shoulders ask you to stop. And if putting your hands wider gives you a better range of motion, go ahead and let the hands be wider. Twice more to the degree that can feel okay for you. Just journey the hands with your strap-like creature down onto belly or legs, elbows relaxed, and then reaching back up. One more time, if that can be okay for you, but please remember you can skip anything that doesn't seem to serve your spirit, serve your body. And then for those of you who are stretching your arms overhead, continue to do so. And perhaps pivot the hands so pinky fingers turn towards the ceiling and thumbs turn towards the earth. So your inner wrists might be facing. And then stretch through your right arm more than your left arm. And start to kind of cantilever your torso. Creep your torso a little bit over to the side, getting a side body stretch. Come back through the center in your time till your head, your neck is lined up with your pelvis, and then reach long through the other arm. And maybe creep the body a little over to that side. Come back to the center in your time. Stretch long through the arms, bring the arms towards the ceiling, and then let your strap or scarf rest on your belly. Now that we're resting on the back of our head without height underneath the pelvis, some of you might enjoy the feeling of a towel, a blanket, or a pillow behind the back of your skull. You might take the time to place that now. I'm really placing the support behind my skull and not so much behind my neck. I'm letting my neck be long, and I'm seeking to rest my weight not on upper back of skull, but low back of skull. Yet take a moment and play, getting height of comfort, position of comfort for you. And whenever you are ready, strap your right foot and kick it up towards the ceiling. Now, this is not an audition for the Russian ballet. There's no one to show off for here. But if to shine your foot towards the ceiling instead of away from your body at the opposite wall, you need to bend your knee quite a bit. Please bend the knee as needed so that your heel shines its spotlight up towards the ceiling. And you might position the strap so it crosses mound to big toe, mound to pinky toe. That's to say, right beneath the toes. Drawing the pinky toe blade of the foot down a little faster than big toe side. Your other leg could stay bent or it could slide straight. Shoulders rooting down to the earth. Back of leg in your experience, in your awareness. You might now switch the strap into your left hand and cross your right leg a bit to the left. Your free hand could rest on your belly or could stretch open to the side. Discover how much over to the side you would enjoy bringing the leg. And if at any point you want to roll onto the side of your left hip, onto your outer left knee, left leg bent or straight, you might turn this into a twist. If you come into the twist and having your leg kicked straight feels like too much, you can bend it in, get rid of the strap. You could put a blanket in between the legs, a pillow between the legs. Maybe one more breath here. And slowly in your time, invite that leg to float back up. And switch hands. Let now just the right hand hold the strap. Left knee might bend towards the ceiling or left leg might slide straight. Letting the right knee, your long legs knee, bend in towards your outer arm. Inner knee to outer arm. Drawing on the strap gently, guiding your inner knee as though towards your outer shoulder. Some of you will recognize this as half, happy baby pose, or upward facing lizard. One more breath here if you're willing. And then taking your time, unstrap that leg, bring your foot to the ground. If your other leg is long, step the other leg in. And either with thighs parallel or knees knocked in, feet wide, take a few breaths here. And your hands could rest easily alongside you, but maybe you bring one hand to your belly and one hand near your heart. Eyes might fall closed, but whatever you do, as you be here, can you take a moment to approach resting with reverence? A message to your psyche that you are enough. A breath here. And then let's do the other leg. If your arms are on your front torso, drop them alongside you. If knees are knocked in, widen them, feet in. Take a moment, please, and strap your other foot. Your strap held by the arms in such a way that your shoulders can root down to the earth. Your free leg could be bent towards the heavens or long on the earth. And again, if to shine the sole of your foot and your heel up towards the ceiling, you need to bend the knee, even quite a bit, go for it. Placing the strap beneath your toes across mound of big toe, mound of pinky toe. And drawing the pinky toe side of the foot down a little faster than the big toe side. Honoring body's bandwidth, not forcing beyond it. Allow the language of sensation, maybe in your calf, hip, back of thigh, other, to be registered in your deep listening. In your readiness, allow the right hand only to hold the strap. Maybe left hand rests on your belly or alongside you. And gently guide your leg towards the opposite side. Going slowly so that you can make sure you're in consent yourself. If we cannot be in consent with ourselves, we cannot be in consent with another. That leg could angle across you to whatever degree feels good. And if at any point you want to roll onto your outer right hip, onto your outer right knee, coming to a twist, your bottom leg again could be bent or straight. Your left arm might melt open to the side. If you're enjoying the twist, but top leg being straight feels like too much, gosh, bend that top leg. Feel free to put a prop between the legs. One more breath here if that can feel safe and okay. And then take your long time about coming back into the center. Switching hands now. Left hand only holds your strap. Your free leg's kneecap shines towards the ceiling, whether it is bent to shine towards the ceiling or straight. And then invite that left knee to bend. Left hand draws gently but steadily down on the strap, so that once again your inner knee moves in the direction of your outer shoulder. Not more than is okay. The amount that feels okay, if any. Skipping anything that feels like it doesn't meet your needs. One more breath here in half happy baby pose, Ardha Ananda Balasana. And then in your time, and as we did on the first side, remove your strap. Bring each of your feet to the ground. You might feel you want to readjust your head, the padding under your neck. Perhaps feet stepping in, knees bending towards the ceiling leaves your thighs parallel, or if you enjoyed knocking them together last time, widening the feet, go ahead. When I do that, I like to turn my toes in and my heels out. And maybe, just maybe for a second time, you let one hand rest on your belly and one hand rest on your heart as you breathe here. And if calling on reverence hasn't been a part of your practice in the past, it's a really beautiful practice. And like all things, its energy, its capacity gets stronger with time. Maybe there's an animal you had in your childhood for whom you feel great reverence, an artist, a peace leader, whether living or not, a friend. If you're willing and it feels organic, call into your heart someone or something for which you feel awe, for which you feel reverence. And let the space between your cells fill with that alchemy. If your hands are on your front body, allow them to slide off. If knees are knocked in with feet wide, bring the feet in, knees can stay close together. And in a soft way, roll to one side and curl up in a little ball for a breath. And then slowly and steadily push the earth away with your hands. Face, head comes up less. Once you're up, you might take a moment just to sit in stillness. Some of you might want to forward fold or lean back and brighten the chest. Please do what would feel good for you. The sound of Om comes to us in many forms. I used to live on the island of St. Croix, and in St. Croix, when people honk, they honk to say, "Why, please, go before me. Why, please, I would be so happy if you went first." And I want to call in that possibility. We're going to fold up our towels and use our towels in some particular ways for, in fact, our next 3 poses. So what I'll invite you to do, get a hold of one of your towels, please, and open it up in its entirety so it's long left to right. Once your towel is long left to right in front of you, open it up, smoothing it out. Some towels just have more lumps and bumps than others, but as best you can, get it smooth. And with it long and wide left to right, you'll hold the edge that's closest to you and fold it away from you about a third of the way. Again, smoothing out any lumps or bumps. So that's just to say we're going to fold it in thirds the long way. And once again, take the edge closest to you and fold it over. Taking time to smooth out any lumps or bumps, because that won't add to the sweetness of the pose and in fact will detract from the sweetness of the pose. So now we have a long and skinny, what I call a My Fun Noodle fold, and I'll invite you to do that as well with your other towel. And if you don't have towels but you're working with blankets, you could play with folding your blanket so that it is long and slender. And if it's a puffy comforter, maybe you do just one. You won't necessarily need to do 2. So I'm going to take my second towel. I'm going to open it wide, left to right. Smooth it out in front of me as best I can. Take the part that's closest to my lap and fold it over a third of the way. and then do it again. Fine, there's a lump or a bump. Please take a moment to smooth it out. There is the princess in the pea, and she gets a bad rap, but in restorative yoga, we think the princess in the pea is a genius. Or I'd say it in this way. If there is a lump in your mattress or your towel that you can smooth out and release, why not do the work of self-care to release it? That being said, if there is a bump in our mattress, whether that's metaphorical in terms of life, that we cannot get rid of, then in that case, I want to suggest it's sweet to make peace. So we now have these two long My Fun noodles. A My Fun noodle, for anyone who's not familiar with them, is a type of Chinese flat noodle. And we're going to fold the left side towards the right side. And then with your other as well, fold one side, the opposite side. Now, because at least most towels have the edge where there's going to be some kind of border, a shift in how the fabric of the towel is created, I'm going to have it so that I have this little border, whatever that is called, to the left on one and to the right on the other. And this structure that I'm building here is going to go, let me turn my back to you and show you. I'm going to be lying down when I'm actually resting on it, but it's going to go on my upper back, but beneath my armpits. And I don't want it to be low down. I don't want there to be a spot between these folded towels and the bottom of my armpits. My arms are going to fall open wide to the side or into cactus if that can be available for you. So this is the structure that's going to go underneath my upper back, just beneath the line of the arms. And I would invite you to have even more height than that, please, underneath the back of your skull. And it might be that you create that with your pillows. And that is, in fact, what I'm going to demonstrate for myself here. I am going to take one of my pillows. I'm going to place it at the ready so it can go behind the back of my skull. But because this pillow squishes down a goodly amount, I may or may not want a little more height than that. Okay. So now I have height for the back of my head, and once you're resting, you can play with whether you want to add more height or remove height. But again, I'd like the head lifted a little bit more than the chest, if that feels okay for you. Because you're working with your towels and we all have different materials, if the structure under your chest feels too thick, you could just remove one of your layers. I have my eye pillows nearby. We're also going to rest with our feet together and our knees open for this pose. And it might be thereby that you put pillows under your outer knees. But I'm going to show a way of using two blankets. You might take two blankets folded similarly if they're made of the same thickness, and just roll them up into two fat little tootsies. One that I'll put off to the left side and a fat tootsie that I'll pull off to the right side. But if it wasn't sweetly folded, the other thing you could do is you could just kind of mush your blanket into a pile like a paper ball. You would just want your two different blankets to be of the same thickness. I'm actually going to switch this pillow out for this pillow so that I could show you that. You could have blankets under your outer knees, or in fact, you could have pillows under your outer knees. And it can be really nice to have both. That's an option. With the feet together, knees open in the shape we're about to be in, we're not looking to get a stretch at the inner groin per se. So I'm going to organize the legs second. Bringing my hands down onto the ground, I bring my forearms onto the folded towels that will go behind my chest. And I wriggle myself either towards my butt or towards my head till in bringing my arms open, they just gently fall into this space. Into the space that is between the towels and the blankets that are under my head or the pillows that are under my head. And in the end, I think my head and neck are happiest without the two pillows under my head, but you're welcome to explore and see. Once you have figured out really where is your pelvis going to be to get your upper back supported by these towels, to get the head supported by these towels, you can bring your feet together and your knees open. Reach down and tuck, whether it is swished up blanket, rolled up blanket, pillows, all of the above. Under your outer thighs, under your outer knees, feet together. You might micro adjust a body part. You might take the time to micro adjust a prop. Remembering your arms can be open wide to the side or dropped back into cactus. And finally, you might take your eye pillow or eye covering and use it to create darkness, or in the case of an eye pillow also, weight over the brow bone, over the forehead. And invite yourself to rest sweetly. It is a variation of butterfly pose, sometimes called tailor's pose. It's the lying down supported version, of course, thereby. It is Salamba Supta Baddha Konasana. just as you can come out of any pose at any time. You are welcome to stay in any pose that feels like it's meeting your needs. That being said, if you feel you might be ready to come out of this shape, feel where your hands are in space and reach your hands towards your legs. Invite your hands to cup your outer thighs at the knee or thereabouts. And use your hands to bring your inner knees together. You might stay there with feet on the ground and knees bent to the ceiling. But if it would feel sweet to stretch your legs long away from you for a moment, feel free. But then after a breath or so, step the soles of your feet back onto the mat, knees bending towards the ceiling. And aid yourself in rolling toward one side or the other. Once you're on your side, press up just enough that you can take the towel structure out from side body and slide it down in between your two knees. We're going to rest on our side. Thereby, you may end up playing with the amount of height you'll wish to have as pillows under your ear. Feel free to reach for any more props. And you might also enjoy having a smushed up blanket, a rolled blanket, or a towel or two, or a pillow or two under your top arm. That's to say, with the padding between my knees, I'm going to lie down. I'm going to get my bottom shoulder out of the way. It's out of my ear. My neck is not congested. It's long on the earth in front of me. And my top arm is just going to snuggle with some props. Now your eye pillow or eye covering could rest over the side of the face facing the ceiling. If it's an eye pillow or something with weight, you might angle it from your temple to your ear. If it is in fact a scarf or such as that, you might drape it over front of eyes, side of temple to back of head. And the final option I'll give, which my body really enjoys, is the weight of an eye pillow, but it also could be a rolled clean sock in the palm of the bottom hand. Let the face bow into the heart just a little bit as you rest here. For some people, the bottom hip starts to feel tender, lying right on the ground in this way. You could always put padding under your bottom hip. You could also choose to come out of the pose. For 2 more breaths, resting softly. again, if this pose is feeling really sweet and you would like to stay in the shape, you are welcome to do so. Yet if you feel ready to be invited out of the shape, please remove any props that are under your top arm. Turning your nose and belly button just a little bit more to the earth. Let your top hand press into the earth in front of the chest. And as that arm pushes the earth away, head melts into the heart, other hand comes in to help. Coming up slowly, the face is literally the last thing that lifts up. For our final pose, some of you might use your strap or scarf to bind the legs, and some of you will not. I'm going to take my strap, just have it at the ready, off near where my legs will vaguely be. You might use your eye pillow or eye covering, and if you're using a scarf, both as a strap and as eye covering, you'll pick and choose which of these two you'll do. We'll use both of our towels, and you're going to play with your remaining props to create some support under the back of the knees. So for the moment, just move your pillows and your blankets out of the way. As I mentioned, you might have your eye pillow and your strap at the ready, or you'll wait and see what I'm going to do with them if you're using a single scarf. Turning our attention back to our two double folded My Fun noodles, I am going to invite you to release them long, so they're still in the triple fold. Hi, Chiku. Oh yes, you always love this pose. For anybody who is new to me, this is Chiku, and she's a little monkey who loves restorative yoga, which just shows how wise she is. You're then going to take your other folded towel, and you're going to lay it right on top of the first. Excuse me, baby girl. Baby girl, I'm trying to do a pose here. Nice, sweet thing. All right, I'm just going to lay it gently on top of you, and we're going to set up the pose. And my guess is you're going to end up moving, because in my house, the cat runs the show. Here we go, baby girl. Okay, so now I have my double stacking of this triple folded towel, which, as you know, I'm calling the My Fun Noodle. And I'm going to actually have a lot of it off of the mat. I have a lot of it off of the mat. This is going to go behind mid-back, upper back, neck, and head. So pelvis, low back, legs are not going to be on this structure. And I have a fellow teacher who, when she teaches with this special towel fold, which also can be done with a blanket fold, she actually has the student put something behind them, something that has some distance, to make sure they don't end up too close to it. And though I don't teach it that way, I like to point it out, because we're not going to be sitting right in front of it the way we would sit right in front of a bolster if we were going to tip back over a bolster. That said, there's this crisp edge where the two towels are stacked, and you're going to want that to come right to your uppermost waist, maybe a little lower than that, maybe a little higher. You're going to decide. We're going to lie back to get our proportions, push ourselves back up, set up our legs, and then lie back a second time. I'm going to lean back on my hands, step my feet to the mat. I'm going to come back onto my forearms, and I realize that now my towel is really in my low back, which is not how I want it to be. So I'm going to sneak my tushy further away, and then I'm going to lie back, and I'm going to feel where it would feel sweetest on my body to have that crease of towel. Do I want it a little further to the waist? Do I want it a little higher up the waist? So I find the spot that's sweet. And then I'm going to reach overhead and I'm going to slide the cat and the towels towards me so that I can tuck these extra layers and cattail under my head till I have tucked them under my head in a way that feels sweet. So now I know my proportioning for the head and how far my pelvis should be from my laid out towels. You could either use your forearms to press yourself up. You roll to the side and sit up. Try not to change your distance to your towels. Come up. And looking at the props I have on hand, I want to build a structure under the back of my knees, more under my shins than thighs. Just say, I'm pretty happy with this. And then in that, I've supported the knees a lot, which I like. My heels don't reach the ground. One, that could be okay. But it also can be sweet if there's any props left over. Tuck under more really the back of the ankle than under the heel. Okay. So now I have a little support under my knees to play with the other proportions. I'm going to help myself to lie back once again. I'm going to make sure I don't squish this sweet kitty's tail. I'm going to go reaching for, oh, you know what? I didn't show you about strapping the legs. Pushing myself back up. Now, although I have a D-clamp and the strap can be used with the D-clamp, I'm just going to tie it the way we would tie shoelaces. I'm going to wrap the strap around the back of my thighs. It's not that I'm going to zip the thighs closer together. I'm just going to have them rolled in so my kneecaps face the ceiling. Again, this is optional. So you could, if you're working with a scarf, tie your scarf in what's sometimes called bunny ear knots. If you're using a strap and you prefer to actually strap it, unlike what I'm doing, you're welcome to do that. And you'll just make it as tight or loose as feels good. But again, we're not narrowing the placement of the thighs. We're just what's called internally rotating them a little bit. Okay. Now, my knees are supported, my legs are rolled in, back. Take a moment to feel the placement of the towel in the upper low back, maybe adjusting any of the blanket layers under my head. Reaching for my eye pillow. My forehead and eye pillow. There's very little weight on my eyeballs. I'll let my arms fall softly off to the side. Now, in my case, I do happen to have one prop left. I have one pillow left. And if I wanted, I could lay it on my low belly or on my pelvis and allow that anchoring, that added weight to encourage my body to release more fully to the earth. Arms far enough away from the body that the armpits can breathe. Fingers curl in so the hands are like soft little rice bowls. Let this pose and the thoughtful setting up of it be an act of reverence for the body. Allow rest in your psyche to receive as much reverence as perhaps work and accomplishing might. Feel the steady movement of the breath. And feel the weight of your body resting on the earth. And your arms, your hands might stay as they are, or just an option. You might bring one of your hands to rest on your belly and one of your hands to rest on your chest. What you encounter, recognize, or discover depends to a large degree on the quality of your approach. When we approach with reverence, great things decide to approach us. You might gently turn your head side to side. You might stretch your arms overhead and maybe even, as you inhale, stretch your legs long. And then at some point on an exhale, let it soften, let it go. And if that felt good, you might do it a second and maybe even a third time. Making length, stretch with breath. Feeling releasing on the exhale. If you're choosing that when you're done with what would in total be your third time, pause in soft stillness. Draw your feet closer to you so your knees bend more deeply. If the legs are bound, you might untie them now, or you might wait until you roll to your side. In any case, eventually roll softly onto your side. And if it can feel okay, stay for a breath. And then decide, both gently but with conviction, that before you lift up, your face is going to be the last thing that comes up. And pushing the top hand into the earth, slowly coming upright. Come to sit. You might choose to pair your hands together at the heart. Inhaling, rise the heart, and as you exhale, bow the face. Looking within, please take a moment to thank yourself for making time to practice yoga and for being just simply exactly you. And from my heart to your hearts, with all of my heart, I thank you for those things too. Namaste. You might choose to fold to the earth, bowing over your lap, sealing this practice. And when you're done, you're done. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice restorative yoga. Thank you for joining Chiku and I for this class. Again, my name is Juliana Mitchell. You can find more of my teachings at livingnowyoga.com. And I wish you all sweetness. Namaste, dear beings.